the lanyard knot, or the multi-strand lanyard knot. Hello everybody, welcome back, and as you can see here, what I've done is I've made myself a little soft shackle here, and in the end of that soft shackle there I've put a lanyard knot or a multi-strand lanyard knot. So basically what I've done is I've halved or centered a piece of rope, brought the two ends together at there, so it's a 3-ply rope, and there's 3 strands within the rope itself. And what I've done is I've brought the 2 parts of the rope together so that I've got 6 strands to play with. And so out of that, in this particular case, I've made myself a nice little soft shackle, and as you can see, it almost looks as though there's a rope running around the edge there, and then it's got a nice crown top to it as well. And what I'm going to do is just show you how to do the actual lanyard knot itself and the crown on top. And the whole idea of a soft shackle is basically it's like a button, so you can use it to secure leads, parts of a boat, whatever you want to use it for. And it's a nice soft shackle, won't come undone until you actually move the button out of the eye, like so. But in today's little exercise, what I'm going to do, yeah, whoa, haven't we got a big one here, John? What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you here with large strand cordage. Just makes it a little bit easier to see, and you can see we get a nice like rope pattern. Not as nice as on that one there. That one's more delicate, but we're using a larger size rope here, and I'm going to show you how to crown it off as well. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to go and undo this, and then let's get knotting, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, so as you can see here, what I've done is I've got myself 3 lengths of red cordage here. What I've done is, all I've done is center it here and then tied it off with a constrictor knot. And if you don't know how to use the constrictor knot, have a look in the description below. There will be a link to the constrictor knot, and you'll find this to be a very, very useful knot if you're doing decorative rope work, etc. So basically what I've done is I'm simulating this here, where I've centered a piece of rope which has got 3 separate strands in it, and what I'm now doing is I'm centering it. So at this point here I have got 6 basically leads, strands coming out of here, and that is what we're going to work with here. So to start this knot off, it's very, very simple, very, very easy. What we do is we tie a wall knot, or a wall knot is a crown knot upside down, and I'll show you that. And all of you who followed me in the past, you know I struggle with wall knots. So what I do is I always turn my work over, so I do a crown knot rather than a wall knot. So the first thing that I've done here is I have basically spread out all my 6 leads in their own directions where they naturally fall, and the next thing that I do is I take the first lead nearest to me. So I'm going to take this one here and I'm going to pass it over the left one here, like so. So just see there, I've passed it over that left one, and what I'm going to do is just make sure that that loop remains there. Now the next thing I'm going to do is take this one here that's just been passed over, so this one here, and I'm going to pass it over that one there. So take it over and pass it over this one here. We then take the one that's just been passed over and pass it over the one that hasn't been passed over nearest to it. So take that and pass it over like so. And then the one that's just been passed over at this point here, so this one here, so I'm going to get hold of that one and I'm going to pass it over this one here next to it that hasn't been passed over as yet. And so pass that over like so, and then then the next one, this lead here has just been passed over, so this one passes over this lead here. And then finally, the last lead, now remember that first loop that we kept there, this final lead here passes down through that loop like so. And then pass it down through that loop, and then when I've done that, just gently pull up on all the cords like so, and then we will end up, if I turn it over, we just did crowning, but if I turn it over, I've now created a wall knot with my 6 strands. and just pull them up so we end up with a nice, neat petal effect going around. There we go. Right, and this is dead simple. This is, to be honest, I don't know why people don't use this knot more often, because it really is a dead simple, easy knot to use. Right, so the next thing we've got is, we've got our flower shape in the middle there. And the next thing that I want to do, each lead that comes out here, I'm going to make it come up through the next loop. So if I take this working end here, so take this working end here off this rope, and I bring it up through the next loop to the right of it, and then just gently pull it through, but not too tight, just gently pull it through. Then I go round to the next one, and so here's the working end of my next one, and I bring it up through that loop, so it's coming up just at that point there to the inside of the lead that's coming out, but at that point. And then, excuse me, just pull through the excess. And then I go to the next one and do exactly the same again. I get the working end of this one here, and I pass it up through at that point there. There we go. And then the only reason I'm bringing these leads here is just to remember where I started and where I finished. So the next lead that I've got to do is I take the working end of this one here and I bring it up through that loop at that point there. So just bring it up like so and bring it through. Just put it to one side. Then it's getting a bit crowded at this end. Then I've got two more leads to do here, you see. So this one here, the working end of this one here, will go up through the loop to the right hand side of that. So there you go, pass it up through that loop like so. Bring it up and there we go. And then finally, the last one is here. There's my working end of the last one. This is the last loop that I need to pass it through. So I'm going to pass it up through that loop and then we've done it. Now I can get hold, and you can see here instantly, before we've even done anything, you can see here we've got a nice spiral pattern appearing here. Don't worry too much about your strands sticking out. In fact, let's clear that one so it doesn't come into play. And now what we do is we gently pull up, just gently pull up on each lead, and gradually you'll see it closing down on itself, and we end up with a nice spiral effect appearing in our cordage. And there we go, pull it up nice and tight. And when you're say for example doing it on your rope here, you want to pull it up really, really tight so you end up with a really, really nice tight spiral knot at this point here. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's take that up a bit more. Just pull it up gently, pull it up, bring it up, and then just gently with your fingers tease it into play, pull it tight, keep pulling tight both ends, pull it tight. And then what you can do is, if you want to, before we go on to the next stage, if we want to move this knot up or down, we just pull on the leads individually and eventually you'll see it move down towards the seizing, if that's the direction you want to head it in. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just go around each individual one, pull it up a bit, so we end up with a nice spiral there. And you can see there now, just by a little bit of tweaking, etc., we've got a nice spiral effect having appeared in our rope work here. Okay, so now the thing is, with regards to this knot here, it's often used as a stopper knot. And so what you could do is, if you've got your rope here, you could in fact, if you were using you can do it with three strands. We could now relay the rope at this end so that we just end up with a nice stopper knot at this point here. But what we're going to do now is we're going to crown this. So the next thing I'm going to do, I like crowning, crowning's easy. So what I'm going to do is just turn the knot over like so. And then the next thing we do is we're going to crown this. Now you can see, first of all, the thing you'll notice as well is that as we're crowning this, there's a slight, you can just see a slight anti-clockwise effect appearing inside there. So we want to keep that anti-clockwise effect. So the next thing I do, grab the nearest one to me and pass it over the one next to it. So, and I'm keeping this loop here. So what I'll do is I'll put my thumb on that loop so we know that's the final loop, and it's passed over the one to the right of it. I then take the one that's just been passed over and pass it over the one to the right of it that hasn't been passed over, if you see what I mean. I then take this one here and I pass it over the next one that hasn't had any leads passing over it. And then this one here, so this one, let's just put that there. This one here passes over to that one there. And then it looks a bit messy to start with. We've got this one here, passes over that one. And then finally, here is my last lead here. We grab hold of that one and we pass that one, the last lead passes down through that loop that we kept at the beginning. So pass it down through that loop like so. And now you can see here, just gently, as I pull it up, we're getting a nice, attractive petal effect again on this one. And you can see there, we've now got ourselves a crown knot starting to appear. But I now want to pull this up fairly tight. So I'm just going to go round and pull up all my leads so that it tightens up nicely. There we go. And you can gradually see that now we've got a nice crown appearing there. And take your time with this to make the crown look nice, smart and even. There we go. Just pull that one through a bit and you can see there now that in here we've got a nice even pattern starting to appear now. So we've crowned this now. So the next thing that we want to do is excuse me, we now want to get our leads and tuck them out of the way. And the simple way of doing that is, I'm just going to tidy that up a little bit more. There we go. And the next thing that I'm going to do is so simple, so easy. I'm just going to take the leads and pass them down through the middle, but keep it nice and symmetrical. So in other words, this working end here will go down there, but it's going to follow this one here to the right of it down through the center. And to make it just that little bit easier for me here, you'll have your own tools for this. I'm going to pass this up through the center, my Swedish fid, and then once I've done that, I'm then going to pass it down through my Swedish fid like so, and just gently pull that through, and you can see now it's following that one there. And so I'm going to take the next one to it and I'm going to do exactly the same again and pass that down through the middle of my work. There we go. So it's gone through the middle, my Swedish fid, pass all my cordage through it and just gently pull like so. And then we go to the next one and do exactly the same again. So you can see here it's going to follow that one down there. So I pass this up through the middle, if I can find the middle. Sometimes you have a little poke and a prod, and don't be over forceful with it because sometimes it'll catch the cordage and you don't want it to catch the cordage. There you go, it's come through the middle there, pass that one down through that gap that I've created there. There we go. I've got, let's see, 3 more to do. So I'll do this one here, pass it up through the middle like so, take the working end of that one and pass it down into my Swedish fid and just gently pull it through. And then, let's see, 2 more to do. Just gently up through the middle, bring it up through the middle, take the working end down. And it's quick and easy, this one. Once you know this knot, you won't forget it. And I'm surprised it's not used more often. You know, it's just a lovely finish to some decorative rope work. And here we are, we're now on the final one here. Pass it down through the middle like so. And there we have it. And so now we've passed all our leads through like so. And you can see here now, without any tightening up, I've got a nice effect at the top here. All I need to do is just square it off. And then when I lay it on its side, it's got a nice spiral effect there. And you'll find that when you use smaller cordage, it's a little bit more refined, this. And then all I've got to do now is just go around, pull up all the leads, make sure it's nice and tight, because we want a nice tight firm knot there. And as you can see, I'm getting slack out of it, and you just want to keep going round and drawing out all the slack, and then we end up with a nice soft shackle like this one. And so therefore, you know, I use these in my car. I actually attach the dog lead to a fixing point in the car, just put my dog lead through, pass this over like so, and then my dog can sort of run around near the back of the car, but he's not going to run off anywhere. But it's fairly quick release, and I can undo it, and there we have it. So that is how to do the lanyard knot, multi-strand lanyard knot. There is a lanyard knot where you can use 2 strands. This is the multi-strand version, and as you can see, you do end up, especially on the smaller stuff, you end up with a nice rope effect around the top of our actual knot here. So yeah, it does look good. It's a really good looking knot. So anyway, once again, thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, if you hated it, but please do leave me a comment below and tell me your experiences, what knots you use for decorative rope work. So once again, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.